Ladies and gentlemen, we return to the topic of the gender bent Silver Surfer because there's a little bit more news to cover. It appears that Anya Taylor Joy is going to be playing the female Silver Surfer. Now, I don't really have anything against Anya Taylor Joy, but everything that I'm hearing from this Fantastic Four movie is just genuinely awful. In my last video I did on the Silver Surfer topic, I discussed how the rumors are that Sue Storm is going to be the main character, Reed Richards is going to be portrayed in a negative light, and they were going to gender bend the Silver Surfer. Now, I don't care how you want to spin it or defend it, or say, well, what about Juno? Juno exists. It doesn't matter about Juno. Juno is irrelevant. Most people don't recognize the name Juno. They do know the name the Silver Surfer. So, if you wanted to make a slam dunk hit movie, at this point, when their reputation is as low as it is, when they have absolutely no goodwill or grace left, you would think that they would learn from this and they would go, okay, we have got to deliver a movie that is as accurate to the fans' expectations as possible. No gender bending, no race swapping, none of this other DIE, ESG, communist woke bullshit. Straight down the middle, straight to the point, a Fantastic Four movie, great actors, great writing, great premise, everything by the book, and we're going to enter Galactus into the world stage. They had an opportunity to try to redeem themselves after the failure that was the Marvels. But these rumors are in line with everything that Disney has done, which is why people like myself are saying, that's it, fait accompli. When I even hear a rumor of this stuff, for me, that's good enough. I don't need to see the movie at this point. I don't need to wait to see if it's true. Because even the whiff of it, the rumor of it, I can tell that it's going to be shit. Because regardless of what you want to try to say about maybe it's not true, maybe it's going to be good, if this is the starting point, that lets me know that things are broken and they have not learned their lesson. Here is the key fundamentals to business. You cannot be as arrogant and narcissistic and stupid and delusional as the people that run Disney. You just can't. No matter how big a corporation you are, if you, say you listening to this, say you build a business and it blows up big and you're getting in millions of dollars a month. You're making it big, huge. Even if you go in and you're like, I'm making $100 million a year. There is no point where you are too big to fail. There is no point where your own hubris and arrogance and stupidity can't cripple you. When I was growing up, do you know what one of the biggest, in fact, a couple of the biggest stores were? Blockbuster and Sears. Sears and Blockbuster were two of the biggest stores. If you had gone back to the 90s and you would have said, hey, in the future, Blockbuster is going to be out of business. There are barely going to be any left. I think one store left. And Sears is going to be out of business. People would have laughed you out of the room. The reality is that you are never too big to fail. And so, keeping a humble, reasonable mindset is beneficial for you in the long term. Because if you are at a point where you no longer care about what the fans want and you're only interested in yourself and virtue signaling, you've lost. You might as well not even do the movie. What's the point of releasing the movie if you're not doing everything you can to make it something that people want to go see? Not like they feel like they have to go see, or they're going to be browbeaten, or bullied, or called sexist. I don't know if you realize this, But the terms that you're using to try to bully and intimidate people to go see your movies, they have no power. You have removed all meaning. What is a sexist? What is a racist? What is a misogynist? What is a xenophobe? What is a bigot? These words have been made powerless because you've used them to describe so many people who are not the thing that they are meant to describe. So, you're not going to be able to bully and intimidate people to go see your movie. You're not going to be able to guilt them into going to see the movie. What's the alternative? The alternative is making it a must-see experience. Making it so damn good, so on the nose, that people from all walks of life want to go watch it, want to go sit down for a couple hours and enjoy your entertainment. But Disney has lost sight of that. They've decided that it's more important to send a political message that most people find to be disgusting and degenerate and are just bleh. They get that feeling, you know, that bile in your mouth when you're about to throw up. That is wokeness. That is identity politics. That is race swapping. That is gender swapping in the general sense. In some cases it makes sense. In some cases it can work. But very rarely. You need somebody that's very talented at what they do. If you want to have a lesbian kiss or a lesbian scene, you need people who are very good at what they do. I'll give you an example. I was watching an episode of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It was like 2 days ago. There was a scene where there was a lesbian kiss where Dax is having a relationship with another woman. But here's the way that they set it up, and it's brilliant. In the story, Dax is a Trill. She has the symbiote inside her, so it's an alien that collects the memory of different hosts within it. At one point, this person, this symbiote, was attached to somebody who was married to somebody else who had a symbiote. And that person who was Dax's host passes away. The symbiote in the other person, eventually when they pass away, moves on to somebody else. So they're in two new bodies, but they recognize each other because they were married. And one was a man, one was a woman at the time, but they're both women now. That is a convoluted, long way to get to it, but you know, when I watched it, I didn't feel the ick that I get from new age, modern, woke, Western content that is just so egregious and thoughtless and just shoved in there mindlessly. I was like, oh, okay, you know, this actually makes sense. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. What a refreshing experience to not have rank fucking amateurs writing the dialogue, writing the character development. What a treat. Now, I'm not saying that it's the best thing in the world, but compared to what we get today, that episode of Deep Space Nine was a goddamn symphony. Because it made sense why they were doing what they were doing. It wasn't just there to be there. It made sense. This was part of the development of the character. In modern Marvel and modern Disney, there is none of that. They are so obsessed with quotas and representation, and all of that is pure fucking poison. It is a cancer to the mind, to the body, and to the soul. There is no benefit, there is no upside. The moment that you start down that dark path, forever will it dominate your business, persona, reputation, and your individual career. Because there is nothing that you can do to redeem yourself past a certain point. And Disney is past that certain point. When people like Tyrone Magnus come out and say, yeah, I pretty much lost 70% of my faith in Disney. I'm pretty much done with them beyond the point of no return. That should tell you you fucked up in a whole other stratosphere. There is nothing that you can do to justify your continued failure at this point. And what it would take to make the Silver Surfer work is that you have him be played by a well-known actor, somebody who's very good, and have that person deliver a spectacular performance, somebody who's perfect for the role, and you go above and beyond to make sure that everything in that movie works. Everything in that movie works. Everything builds up. There's something bigger with Galactus. If you did that and got rid of, well, Sue Storm is the main character, and Reed Richards is kind of an asshole, and all this other woke garbage, this poison, this puke in a garbage bag at the back of a Chuck E. Cheese dumpster. If you got rid of all of that and just stuck to the traditional form of storytelling, you would be in such a better position. But you have these yapping yentas who are like, oh, well, we need to change this and this. We need to change this. We need to alter this. More women need to be represented. All of these women in Hollywood and these beta males who you can barely call men, they have done irreparable damage to our entertainment and artistic spaces. To the point where one of the biggest and most beloved companies, Disney, is now the laughingstock of the entire entertainment scene. Where they release a movie and it can't even cross $200 million. The Marvels is one of their most spectacular failures. And that is ultimately what Get Woke, Go Broke means. Doesn't mean it happens tomorrow, but eventually, no matter how big you are, it will catch up to you. And it will completely demolish everything that you've built. Disney is at the lowest point that it's ever been. The Marvel franchise is a joke. Star Wars is a straight-to-streaming service franchise. Pirates of the Caribbean is gone. All of their major iconic characters, Mickey Mouse, they refuse to do movies with Mickey. So everything that they've done over the past 10 years has left them in the spot where they are desolate and destitute. They have nothing. They are in the worst shape that they've ever been in. And while the stock of Disney may go up, it may go down, it doesn't change anything. No one will ever look at Disney the same way again because of their injection into hideous, disgusting, despicable, communistic, far-left identity politics into their work. The moment that they injected that stuff in there, that was the beginning of the end. And now, they come out with a Silver Surfer. It's going to be a woman. It doesn't matter if you made her Juno. People don't know who Juno is. The only thing they're going to hear is you're making a female Silver Surfer, and that's going to kill the movie real quick. Because you have no goodwill. You don't have people that are willing to wait around and listen to the explanation anymore. You've done away with that. You've insulted people at every opportunity. These low IQ, disgusting old middle-aged hags that you've put up there in directorships or in writing roles or given them roles on screen, and you've allowed them to go out and disparage audiences over and over and over again to the point where they find you disgusting. They find this whole exercise in diversity, equity, and inclusion, they find it to be disgusting. Because you've insulted so many people. You've belittled them. You've marginalized them, to use your terminology. All while being the most privileged, narcissistic, stuck-up. These people in Hollywood are just the worst. And so, no. they don't get any goodwill. They don't get any benefit of the doubt. We look at what they're doing. We look at what they're trying to present to us. And we say no. No. You want Pedro Pascal to play Reed Richards? I mean, you make every decision harder on yourself. Because you refuse to learn. Pedro Pascal for Reed Richards is a terrible choice. He's not white, first of all. Which somebody said, well, it doesn't matter. It does. It does if the races are reversed. So the low IQ racist morons, especially on the left, these woke warriors, they care very deeply about the race of a character. But you had John Krasinski playing Reed Richards. You should have him return. Why not? Maybe redeem the character after what you did to him in WandaVision. Or whatever that is. Doctor Strange in the multiverse of mundane. So ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for today's video. It's just more of the same. More mistakes that are easily avoidable. And I will not stop talking about this. I will not stop sharing this. It is what it is. And we call it to attention in the hopes that somebody in the future might watch this video or one like it and realize what these people were trying to do. They were attempting to force people to become okay with something that they are not okay with, which is identity politics, which is centered around a grotesque and Republican, San Francisco Republican, Democrat philosophy, an ideology that is every bit as evil as the worst ideologies we've seen in history. It seeks to corrupt and destroy and force people to adopt its tenets. And my answer, and the answer of many people, is no. Never will, never going to happen. Anyway, that'll do it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.